about.
There's a restaurant in Big Sur, or it's Monterey somewhere, and there's a redwood that runs right through it, and at the top of it are owls, and they have a camera in the owl box, and they have these big screen TVs like any restaurant, but instead of the Super Bowl, you're watching this superb owl kill and eat mice while you eat your octopus tails fried. It's brutal.
Is the octopus part?
The octopus part.
Is that the place with a giant piece of jade in front of it?
I think so. Yeah,
it's over by jade in a little courtyard
towards Moss Landing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. After Moss Landing, I thought, but
yeah. After Moss Landing, right? Your direction's even. Yeah. I forget what it's called. It's like Cubana or something. Havana, something like has to do with Cuban food. It's like a communist place.
Cool.
Cuba is an awesome communist place, okay?
No, I just mean the restaurant being named after it. I think it was because they're more into Cuba than the Cubans are, really. Yeah,
right.
I forgot what post I was making, but
I
had to go back to what Grimes was saying. Grimes was saying AI is the ultimate communism, right? We had to quote her saying that. I forgot. I'm trying to connect to something.
It's true in a lot of ways. I mean, because what you can do is you can remove so much of the human interaction, and this has been something that you think about. Soviet glasnost, they tried to make it opportune for people to remove corruption by having it be so transparent, right? And eventually, it destroyed the whole state. And so the problem with that is that you need something else to replace it. So you look at Africa. And in Africa, you bring in Google, and Google starts to replace the mail. And immediately, as many things that can be done over Google instead of over the physical mail are done. And all of a sudden, there's transparency with FedEx. And so all things aren't getting lost in the mail. Yeah. That's the first step, right? So AI can do that to a further degree. And that's why it's kind of interesting. We were talking a little bit. I mean, the title of this is the most tame. I'm going to start titling these episodes the most boring episode ever, the most normal episode ever, something so that people don't get it censored. But GPT now, there's Auto-GPT. And so Auto-GPT, what it can do is it can allow you to interact with other GPTs and other forms of AI, and it can create communication online. Also, you can build it basically into your computer like an operating system. It's if GPT was sort of a search engine, this is like an operating system built.
So there's no more gap between Mac OS and Windows and Linux, right? I mean, it's going to be.
So that's interesting too, because for the longest time, Google's had its own secret operating system called Fuchsia, right? Which is secret and open source at the same time. Figure that one out. But you can have this operating system runs anything, and it's connected to a bunch of different hardware. So anything that needs to be emulated or can't be emulated has to be run on physical hardware. It's just networked into the equipment. So yes, there are operating systems that can run everything, and we're almost at that point already because you can basically run anything you want.
Yeah. I tell you guys something about recently. What has been a big turmoil in my business is in Hollywood is that we the artists like me, we've been fighting these AI groups on Facebook because there's all these crazy horde of people like they claim themselves to be artists just like they're pushing the prompts to create these masterpiece paintings, right? But it's like none of us can even argue through it. Like people just laugh. They're like, we got a secret on how to create art without needing to be trained. And basically,
well, it's a different thing. It's a totally different thing though, because what you're doing is sculpting something into what you're looking for, and what they're doing is they're asking somebody to draw them a picture, and they're happy with it. It's a lot like buying a painting from a painter.
Yeah. I know, but I'm saying that overall it's becoming like this free for all. Like basically, it is like communism. So, hey, here, Pandora's box is open. We don't need these people.
Well, I got some silver lining. While you're starving to death because no one's buying commissions anymore, which is going to happen to all of us.
Right?
Yeah, like. But the silver lining here, and I think that it's not that if you do prompting that you're an artist, it's way closer to being like an art director. So you could be a crappy art director, and those are the ones that just walk in and they're like, make that pop a little bit more, or add some pizzazz over there, like just give you very vague directions, versus having to understand the properties of light, the properties of composition, being able to describe the exact type of film, the kind of lighting environment. If you want like neon lighting versus fluorescent lighting versus incandescent, what color of lighting. If you know all those things, That's where the people are getting these really good looking prompts. But that's
Yeah.
would be the equivalent of me going to you and saying, here's exactly what I want. Here's the type of car. Here's the perspective.
Plus,
you
how
know,
long
here-
is
here's the
AI
stuff.
going to do what it's told before finally you say, draw me another Mona Lisa? And AI
Well-
says, no,
Oh, well,
Right?
actually,
I'm not
Like,
drawing
It's
another Mona
this
Lisa.
guy
It
that's
would be
beginning-
I'm
unethical.
sick of Mona Lisa. Yeah.
actually, there's a really good AI generator from Japan. I forgot what it's called. It creates like anime textures, and it's crazy amazing. Like it beats Mid Journey and all that stuff.
And
Hey,
it's
I'm
diffusion.
not a gamer, but you guys play Cuphead? You ever
Oh,
play
yeah, for
Cuphead?
sure.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that is so fucking cool. Like I don't know. I'm like,
And super evil, right? Have you seen the cartoon about Cuphead? Because it's all about selling your
Mm.
soul, and then they have to get their soul back, and like they're
Yeah.
working for the devil, and they're trying to trick the devil the whole time.
It's an awesome plot line.
Never
to be
sell your
honest.
soul.
It's pretty great. All these, but this is a show for 7-year-olds. Just remember.
But
But
this to me feels like somebody put a lot of energy. Like this isn't an AI thing. This is like a lot of energy going into this from artists,
yeah.
right? It's
Oh
just
yeah, and like
yeah.
so Micah Buzan is my friend who's a lot of the animations that I've had over the years are from Micah. You know, some of the best animation loops he does. And he also sells loops if people are like do VJing. I've known him since I was a projection artist, and he hand animates and teaches people how to do it for real. How to storyboard. Dude, honestly, Mike is amazing. Cool dude. And he, you know, look at the kind of stuff that he does, right? Like incredible. So
He's
he'll
a 2D
analyze it.
animator at Leica. I mean, he worked at Leica.
You would totally
in Portland?
dig. You would totally dig Micah, even though he's from Portland. Just kidding. No, he's cool.
Oh, Micah doesn't. I'm sorry. I thought it's Leica. Never mind.
No, yeah,
Leica
Mike,
is Greek for wolf. Is that correct? Is that what you said?
I don't. Yeah, is that true? Yeah, Leica, great. That works. Yeah, true. But
Can
yeah,
we
so
build
he
my
teaches
Wizard
you.
Wars
Really
video game with this one day.
Well, so the thing is, you know, what we're talking about here is a difference between, like I said earlier, someone who knows how to get what they want through making it and somebody who gets what they want kind of to paying someone else to do it. And the point is, someone who used to have to pay Eddie is, you know, and before that had to pay somebody else. I don't know, like Don Bluth. I don't know. Now they're saying, I don't have to pay you. I don't have to pay Eddie. I don't have to pay somebody in Shanghai. I can just get AI to do it. And that's not necessarily going to give them what they want.
You want to hear the most idiotic thing right now? Well, the biggest thing that's coming is a freight train coming at us. Is the writer's strike? Is supposed to happen on May Day? You know, Beltane. You know, yeah.
That's
we're
when generated
anticipating it.
content's going to go live.
Yeah. So the writers are
Wow.
basically one of the bargaining chip that they're going to bring to the studios is saying that we're going to be able to use AI, GPT, whatever, you know, to create a whole script and retaining writer's credit. I'm like, you're using something that's going to take over your livelihood, and you still try to maintain that your authorship.
Right.
I don't see how they're going to pull it off. You know,
No,
I'm
I
like,
mean, what's going to happen is AI generated content is going to start being released more and more by that point, and people are going to start switching. Right now, you can watch AI generated SpongeBob, where new SpongeBob episodes are 24 hours a day being generated nonstop. Same thing with
What?
Seinfeld. Yeah, and Seinfeld as well, although it's in low
Really?
voxel. Yeah, so I mean, it's not going to, and we were predicting this was going to take a little bit longer, but of course somebody decided to do it at a low enough resolution that it was possible. And, you know, very soon you're going to find more and more of these low resolution shows become higher resolution until it gets to the point where you won't be able to tell within 5 years. I don't think it's going to take that long. You won't be able to tell what you're watching isn't filmed. It'll be live generated television.
Did you guys notice that all of a sudden there's like these retro, like the returning of the tape players and
I have cassettes
and the cell phones and all these kids like I'm tired of this iPhones. Yeah, they want the Nokia phone. They want the Motorola's.
Well, you know, thanks
like-
to freaking auto tune and all the and like a vocoding, like isn't this just like the inevitable trajectory of where we were
But it's
headed?
not
Like,
going. It's not going to stop people like Eddie, because the thing is, real artists who make their own thing, real craftsmen who build their own houses, people that still design these things, I think that's still going to exist alongside of people that are getting cheaper and cheaper what they want. And that's going to be interesting because there won't be any profit in exceptionalism anymore necessarily. I don't know.
I'm just gonna open a Chinese restaurant. That's on.
Well, speaking of China, though,
there's
there's an interesting concept here, and that's all of the censorship that we were talking about earlier, be it like models that you're putting on image sites, or if it's ChatGPT. China's not doing the same type of censorship. So the second that anyone
That's right.
starts self-censoring and preventing that from happening, China just keeps doing whatever China want to do, and all of a sudden they just like project forward. And right now, I mean, we're literally talking about 24 hours lapse, and you can be way behind the game if you're not on top of it. So you extrapolate that to 3 months or 6 months. If we all say, whoa, let's take a break. Well, Elon Musk and a whole bunch of like the top AI people were like, let's take a 6-month break. Let's
Yeah,
just
how about you
catch
guys
up.
take a
Let's figure out
6-month
plan.
break?
Yeah. So China's not taking a 6-month break. So and I posted that link that you just pulled up here that Donald Glover's creative studio actually put out real job offers for AI prompters. So here's an AI prompt animator and an AI prompt engineer. Slash
Donald Glover, like community and hip hop artist.
Creation.
Yes, yeah, that Donald.
Dude, I'm down with Donald Glover.
I want to work for Donald Glover.
Yeah,
Give
dude,
me
totally.
let's apply.
There it is.
But
Go apply.
He's been getting a lot of flack for posting this because
I like it when people get flagged. That means they're good people.
Oh man.
No, sorry, because
Hire Andreas.
because this is basically being seen as a very real world scenario of an artist and an animator losing their job to a computer in some sense, even though this is
it's a new thing, but it's an old thing. This is kind of like a line producer. Like, so when you produce on a show, you have to make sure you get the things that are needed for that day. So an AI prompt animator, I think, is a lot like a pre-production coordinator or a line producer. You know, they're arranging the parts, and they're kind of in the process of building storyboards, but now the storyboards can become the real project eventually with some more. It's going to require a finisher.
So there's one person instead of like 3 or 4 essentially.
Yeah, true, but the person that's the persons that are replaced are the persons that were moving physical things, making physical things, and doing, as opposed to, you know, the person that was trying to coordinate the plan. So it also kind of centralizes authority more.
You know, 20 years ago, I used to have my own cleanup artist, you know, a slaving away to clean up my drawing. Yeah, you don't know
it's
how
like
to
a
read that,
busboy,
right?
right? The dishwasher.
Yeah, what do you mean you can't read it? It's a blob. Just clean it up, you know.
Making some moderate searches on. It's a scary thing to search for. Never mind. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know.
And the tweeners too, right? That was kind of I was like a digital tweener at Disney, but the tweeners are the ones that don't actually get to draw like the cool keyframes that everyone obsesses about. You got to draw all the boring ones in between.
That's why Tim Burton went insane, right? Tim Burton's story is that he did the tweens for 101 Dalmatians, and it drove him mad.
Dude, those are the people who throw in the subliminals a lot of the time,
right?
Because they need to make their jobs interesting. Because they're just like, why am I doing what I'm doing? I was like,
let's put a dick here.
Right. I don't see that as much as like people like the way you'll see a lot of YouTube videos like treat all of that like it's just like this Illuminati thing. I'm like, that's like largely like people who are just trying to make their jobs fucking more.
Well, and
you know?
and what kind of money were they making on the side, right? They weren't drawing kids' cartoons for money on the side. They were doing pinups and tattoos and cool stuff.
It's like I always record. We had the chief designer of Canadian Idol on one time, and he told us that he just like put his name across the back of the stage, like in what he had built. Like it's just in it, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's obvious after the fact, but it just this look. You know, if you didn't know that, if somebody didn't point that out to you, you wouldn't be like, "Wait a minute, that says something." What does that say? Oh, it's a guy's
fucking giant name. Watermark.
Yeah.
One thing I want to tell you is that this is nothing new. This whole technological revolution. I was taught by this guy at CalArts. His name is Larry White. He was the master animator of the Wolf Pack in Beauty and the Beast. So he taught me 2D animation. He was my teacher. And and then when I graduated, this is just quick. I bumped into him, right? He said, "Eddie, how you doing, man? How's business?" I said, "Oh yeah. I started storyboarding. That's my focus now." And you know, Eddie, he's like, his eyes were bugged out and everything. He's so scared. He's like, "Hey, you gotta learn computer animation right now. You gotta." I was like, "Larry, you're the one who taught me how to flip paper and animate and then do my own in betweens on paper, flipping papers and pencil work." And he's like, "No, you gotta learn computers. Get on the Silicon Graphics machine." And that was like,
wow,
like before 2001, you know. And then I just look at this guy. What happened to you? He said, Disney is throwing out 20,000 people. The cleanup artists in between us, they're all gone. Nobody, only they all got a pink slip, and then they offer him to train him exclusively how to use Mayan and all. I don't know what software they're using at the time. It was proprietary Disney software.
Like and
that was the Dinosaur Project. The Dinosaur Project was the experiment. You know,
Oh, wow.
that was the one that they were like throwing all the animators. Say, you take this training program, or get the F out of here. So 20,000, they dropped the axe. So 20,000 people were lost their job like overnight. So that was like that. There was the because Pixar, Toy Story threat was huge. Disney really treated Pixar as an enemy.
What year was
even though-
this?
This was like 98,
Because I remember right
yeah.
around that time is when in Orlando, Disney World had a huge exhibit about go and watch animators work, and you go in, but they all had like little computer screens with the digital drawing pads, and there weren't any traditional art supplies anywhere. So you went in there, and it was almost like an Apple store.
Yeah,
Wow.
because actually this is what happened. Because I live just right down the street from Disney Studios, the animation studio. They built that studio. It was brand new at the time. Then they realized they have a problem because they were dumping all the traditional gear. Right? There's no more the animation disc and tape, animation table anymore. Everything went computer. So when this computer, you gotta like see. It's all these huge glass windows that's letting the light in. Computer animation, that's a nightmare. You cannot have light coming into the room. So they had to rebuild the whole darn thing just to seal the light off. So yeah, they have to rebuild it. So yeah,
Though that was where I worked at Disney World was called the Fishbowl, because if you ever did a backlot sort of tour, you would get in a little tram and it would drive you around, and in the side of the animation room
That's where I've seen you before.
It would, yeah. You saw me waving, and we would do the little the little fish.
That is always the creepiest thing. Like,
they had
going
to black the
around
whole
Willy
thing out.
Wonka's magic, and what the hell?
And there was the dress code too, right? Like you have to have because there are all these like visitors, and you have to dress very neatly. You cannot grow beard. You cannot have a hair.
You know why that is? Specifically the beard and the hairstyle is because they wanted this. I heard this like explained to me by one of the higher ups, because long story short, I didn't want to shave my beard, so I was like pushing against it for the longest time, and they explained it in a way that made sense. But that if your grandparents bring you to Disney World in the 70s or in the 80s or in the 90s, and then you bring your grandkids in 2022, they want it so that all the people in the background look like they're timeless. So you can't see the progression of the 70s, 80s, not like you don't see like the hairstyles and the facial hairstyles. It just looks like you're at Disney World, and Disney World is forever, and Disney World is not affected by the outside, properties of time. And that's kind of why that they ban all of that.
That's so epic. They're like, no, you understand, it's a magical ritual. This.
And I understood, and I shaved.
Got it.
It's a small world, right? Everybody's just all generic, no facial hair.
Should we talk about the Dalai Lama's kiss? Is this too much?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Somebody was talking about it.
Yesterday, I get a call from David, and my buddy David Plate here says, "Hey, I'm going to the Medicine Buddha. We're gonna go, hang out and do a little bit."
That's why you sent it. I thought you were just because I'd seen that all over the place, but I didn't make the connection that you were like, "Hey, sync." Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I had no idea, until yesterday. I got in the news was about it. Anyway, like David told me to come to the Medicine Buddha, and I was like, I should come. And then I remembered that I'd been at the Medicine Buddha before. There's a throne where he sat at, and the door used to be open, and I sat in the throne until they locked up the temple back in the years gone by when we were young. And so I always had weird thoughts and feels about the Dalai Lama, but then I guess everyone should. And then there is this whole thing, and I think most of you who watch my channel probably already know about this, but let's just hope that this is getting out there to the sleeper cells in the world, and you seeing this for the first time. And this little boy being kissed and laughed, and he's like, kiss me on the lips, little boy. Now, suck on my tongue, little boy. That's where it gets weird, I think, is the tongue.
They blurred out his face. The kid is laughing and smiling and whatever.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you should.
I'm not. Hey, you know what? If we're gonna have this conversation, you can't assume that just because you say anything other than like, oh my god, pedophile, that you're automatically fucking. I'm just saying, like.
Okay, yeah, but that's fair because let's do it.
Well, I can't even say is he playing with the kid, because that's even creepy. Like what? Like saying it like that when it's the tongue on tongue. What's going on?
Right,
wait,
so
is this the guy from Nexium with the Dalai Lama? That's right. Yeah, that's the Nexium guy.
So remember that a few weeks ago I was trying to talk about Richard Branson's island, the Necker Island, right? That's where the whole orgy was happening, on the Necker Island. And Obama was there. You remember I talked about that.
who was Tenzin Gondin? Oh, Tenzin Gondin, was he a sexually involved Tibetan liaison of the?
Look at that! Look at that smile.
Oh, weird!
How
And
can
he
you
had
not be?
and in his watch. Oh, and he had to hide out, and now he's gone down to Epstein Island.
He's the one. He's the one who was sleeping with the Smallville actress. What's her name? Allison. Yeah. And this,
Peekaboo, bruh.
And you know this woman, right? She's the heiress of the of the what is that alcohol company? God damn it, I forgot
Sarah
her name.
Bronfman.
The Bronfman. You remember the Bronfman company? They did the Smirnoff. No, who do they? Which alcohol do they own? They own the distillery. But
Seagram.
Seagram.
Edgar Miles Bronfman, Canadian-American businessman, worked for his family's distilled beverage firm Seagram, eventually became president, treasurer, CEO. As president of the World Jewish Congress, Bronfman is especially remembered for initiating diplomacy with the Soviet Union, which resulted in legitimizing the Hebrew language in the USSR and contributed to the Soviet Jews being legally able to practice their own religion as well as immigrate to Israel. So this is the guy. So here's, gonna just pull this together. Israel, Ukrainian children. Can you find this article? Do you know what the hundreds of thousands? There's like 50,000 Ukrainian children in the 60s and 70s and 80s who were stolen from Ukraine and brought to Israel. Right.
So we got this connection because the Bronfman sisters, his daughters, those two daughters, one went to jail, and the other one married this Pakistani guy. But the thing is that there was a whole network. The MV next, I can't even say it, Nixvim. These people are connected with that island. I mean, that's like the other Jeffrey, the Epstein Island. The St. James.
Dude, the Dalai Lama
nobody's
was born
talking
this
about
way, dude. I'm sorry. Can I just I think it was like 4 years ago, I was watching an interview with the Dalai Lama, and somebody was basically he's so easy to just kind of manipulate if you want him to say he supports something, the way it's presented, because he feels like you can see that he'll get like the pressure that he has to take a position, and it has to be the most ethical, it has to be the most moral position. And I've seen him get coached in such a way that he ended up taking positions that are just like horrific. And but my thought at the time was, I was like, man, this guy looks like he's getting fucking dementia. Like, he doesn't look like he's reminding, Bill was
Matthew
saying,
Broderick or something.
Bill was saying, I want to see thank you. That's exactly it. So that's what Bill was saying. He's like, I want to see like Biden and Dalai Lama eating ice cream together, and just with their
sniffing hair and sucking tongues.
Saying, exactly, dude, totally. And so there's there's a whole thing there. But yeah, he's been out of it for a while, and people haven't even seemed to recognize it, because I don't think people watched it. I read his book when I was in my early 20s. I think it's called The Art of Happiness. It was so bad. If you want to read something that's about this, what it is that he's supposedly about, I say look at Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh is totally legit. I've seen him speak twice at a Vietnamese Buddhist center above Mount Madonna. He's an incredible person, But this guy was just put in this position as a child. He is groomed. You want to talk about grooming? The fucking Dalai Lama is
this is the real
man on the fucking planet.
This is the real Lama. I want to reiterate what David said. Make sure you know about Thich Nhat Hanh, because he's brilliant and legitimizes Buddhism and the entire pursuit. The problem with the Dalai Lama, I just want to make sure, because I feel like people would be upset if we didn't bring up the CIA's early history.
CIA. Sorry,
right.
I just want to quickly say, and him tongue kissing a kid is the best propaganda China could ever hope for.
Well, that's true.
Exactly. He's a weapon against China for so many decades. They'll try to speak of Tibetan human rights, but then he really is a phony.
When Chairman Mao announced the liberation of Tibet as a top priority for the newly founded People's Republic of China, the Dalai Lama was not yet 15 years old. A year later, the Tibetan army was completely routed after a short campaign by China's Liberation Army, et cetera, et cetera. If you go down, let's see, CIA. Let's go there. It was down, yeah. So basically, remarkably irony, introduction to the modern world came from a former member of Hitler's SS. It was Herr who subsequently put the Dalai Lama's brother in touch with officials at the United States Embassy in India, Heinrich Herr, and who hatched a plot with the CIA to spirit the Dalai Lama out of Tibet if he would first publicly repudiate the agreement. This, the Dalai Lama declined to do on the grounds that it was not clear that the Americans would give wholehearted support to Tibet if he did. If it was nonetheless at this moment, the agency began to take a close interest in Tibet. Word of the precious protector's escape spread swiftly around the world, but for want of information, the many news agencies taking interest in the story were compelled to hold their breath. 10 days after the Dalai Lama's disappearance from Lhasa, the Indian president sent an urgent letter to Nehru asking for support, etc., etc. Nehru, second only to President Eisenhower, was informed the day before writing to the Indian president the escape party had arrived safely at the border, but it would not do to broadcast the government's intelligence capability, owing its links to the CIA. So beyond that, if you look at the Information Act, it shows that the Dalai Lama has been on CIA payroll since 1962 or 68. I forget. I think 62, and continues to this day. They smuggled him out of Tibet, and then they've ever since were working with China, right? And then so that's where everything gets weird, is because then Kissinger recognizes 20 years later PRC as the legitimate China. And then that kind of leaves Tibet in a bad situation. But the story is that Tibet's supposed to be the next major international city, that they want Tibet to be the Asian Israel, right? You've got Astana, Israel, and Tibet will be a non-state city. And the CIA and the British government and whoever else that's, I think, part of the kind of the theosophic goal, to have a few world cities that are separated. I mean, and everything about the Dalai Lama, I mean, so it sounds like you start with the Nazis showing up in Tibet, deciding that they love how the Tibetans think, and the Tibetans love the Nazis, right? Because they're saying, oh, you've got this Buddharchy with this Führer, he's a reincarnated divine leader. We get that. And so
they're also very health focused. They're very green,
Right. And Tibetan torture. Keep going.
So the 7 day in Tibet. Who was that character in that movie? That Brad Pitt plays. I mean,
is that Heinrich?
He was a CIA guy, right? He knew that the Nazis were there.
Yeah, it's Heinrich Herr, right? Exactly.
Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Smith is actually completely connected to this movie.
It's weird because it's like right in our freaking public. They've told you this, that there were these SS officers and they're not all bad. It's just like, who made this movie? Why was this okay? They made Brad Pitt.
Not all bad.
What the heck, man? And then so they're supposed to be, and this is where the Dalai Lama gets trained. So he's like a teenager and he's learning from the Nazis instead of from the Tibetan masters, essentially. And then he's brought all around the world because he's not allowed back to Tibet. So, I mean, what is this?
Can we make a meme out of this where fucking Brad Pitt's tongue is sticking out here?
Oh.
And I want to throw out, we also, I'm waiting for the Red Hot Chili Peppers remix of this one of Suck My Tongue.
You know what I really want to play right now is Rage Against the Machine. They do what they told you.
Right. But then he did that though. That's what's fucked up. But yeah.
Well, there goes
here, the Lhasa Tibet Festival. So the Nazis went to Tibet and they filmed it, and then they brought a projector and they projected film of Berlin on the walls in the temple, and the lamas were like, "That's so based," like they were so impressed with it. But you can see that these are the peasants, right? And dragging themselves around. The peasants weren't treated super well. So I think this is something we kind of leave out.
That looks like these people have this is a pilgrimage, and they're prostrating themselves because they've reached their destination.
Yeah, good for them.
And you know what? I really think that the Nazis. This was before they developed the Bell UFO. What was that program? The Bell UFO in Poland. Glockenspiel. I mean, because Tibetans, they know the secret of levitation, right?
They got the bell
to sonic, auditory. What do you call it? I forget what it's called, but basically they use the long horns, right? They blow the horns in the circle. What is that brass horn that's called? You guys know what I'm talking about? The levitation in Tibet. The monks.
I've heard of this. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. Sorry.
Well, it was
these
Oh yeah. The monk.
How come they're carrying it?
A lot of that out there, and rumors of it, and I think there's something to it. Charlie C. Actually, he went over to China to study under the Oriental alchemy, and we're going to be doing an episode with him where he's actually trained under one of the masters that he said actually did some of this levitation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's very few. There's literally no footage of it, but people witnessed it. Yeah, So
it's a good way to build buildings. I mean, we've talked a lot about levitation for building these giant monuments. I mean, so if they're keeping the technology alive, I wouldn't be too surprised.
maybe
And
that's what Egyptians used.
wasn't the Nazis' interest in Tibet sprung from Madame Blavatsky's purported discoveries from Tibet, or did it start from outside of that? Do you guys?
This is
That would be
this
for
is just a really.
Europeans. So
I got a tangent. This 1998 article, Dalai Lama was not on CIA payroll, but his people were. This is before the 2001 or whatever 2003 Freedom of Information Act that shows the Dalai Lama was on payroll. So I just find that funny, and you can't even find the article now. It just goes to a deleted article. So good job. But yeah, so it sounds pretty messed up that you've basically got kind of a sexual cult, and that they're, as a religious group, they can go anywhere in the world, and you've got pictures of them with the king and queen, right? Charles is friends with the Dalai Lama.
Of course, Dalai Lama has so many goddamn friends. If you want to look, he's with Bono. You know what I mean? He's like this, or Bono. How do you say it? Am I saying?
Bono, yeah.
Dude, I had a fucked up thing happen with that, where an English friend of mine was talking about Sonny Bono, and we were drinking, and like I didn't know for like over 5 minutes that he was talking about Bono, and I thought he was talking about Bono, Sonny Bono, but he was just saying Bono. He wasn't saying Sonny. And then finally he mentioned Cher, and I was like, "Oh my god, dude! I couldn't believe what I was like. I hate Bono. You know, I'm like,
I got you, babe.
The guy with Monsanto and all that. Anyway, whatever.
It's a Groundhog Day.
Oh,
reference.
dude, yeah.
My one dude, Eddie, you had a thing on the big dent in the Earth's magnetic fields, making scientists nervous. What did you see about this?
Well, I kept thinking about this. Well, this is not a new article. I mean, but it is. It keeps resurfacing because I look at the map. If you look at the map, maybe it's not in this article, but you see this. You just type this anomaly Brazil, magnetic anomaly Brazil to South Africa. You're gonna see this. Yeah, you see that? Yeah, right. Yeah, you just go to image and you see it. Yeah. So I thought it was interesting because I was in Brazil. I was doing ayahuasca in the
this is right at Iguazu. The point that's Iguazu.
Exactly where I was. I was right there. That was the Santa Catarina, whatever it's called. That was the province. But I was in the Florianopolis island. So because when I was there, they were saying there was a hidden UFO base.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So I don't know what this anomaly is.
If you pull out here, the Falls of Iguazu. So this is where I think it's 40 at this point % of the power of South America is run out of is out of this waterfall system, Iguazu waterfall hydroelectric power system. Super based, super beautiful, rainbows all day. It's crazy.
Also, Bush has a stake in it, right?
Yeah, but he's up in the north. Let's go. He's
in Paraguay.
Yeah, but so that Iguazu's down here where Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay touch.
Like
Bush is up here in the Chaco, up north near Corumba and Rio Bahia.
One of the largest aquifer in the world. You know, that's how.
Yeah.
What's her name? Bush daughters. Jen.
Right.
Bush?
He bought it in her name. Right.
Oh,
yeah. She
really?
went down south. She was doing Peace Corps work. You see, Peace Corps.
Right.
Here he goes again.
Yeah, I got like a Peace Corps friends. That's basically all there is in South America, or in Paraguay. I mean, I'm sorry, is Peace Corps and Germans. But so you get up here. This is Philadelphia right here. You can see how it look how it looks like a camouflage, like it's all cut out. That's how huge sections of the earth that have just been. Look at that. That's like a whole grid of earth just turned into farming. So it's all cut up. That's the German area right there, Philadelphia. And then
that's the boys from Brazil. That's
right.
what they are.
Oh, there you go.
And I don't know.
Is that related? Do they say in Boys from Brazil? Do they say that?
Yeah. Well, actually, where the boys from Brazil would be is San Bernardino. So here's Villarica. Here's Concepcion. Where's San Bernardino? Let's see.
That country, I mean, isn't Paraguay like the whitest country in South America?
Or the darkest, I think.
It depends on what you think. Actually, Argentina is like 98% white, and Paraguay has because you have a lot of Italians too. But Paraguay has a lot of white people, but it also is 98% speak Guarani, which is the indigenous language. The only country in South America that still the majority of the people can speak their own language. Some people call it the heart of South America. It's like the Tibet of South America, actually. And it's where the Jesuits went. And so at one point there was a Triple Alliance War, which means that Brazil invaded, Argentina invaded, and Bolivia invaded from all sides because they wanted to kill everyone, and they killed 99% of the population of Paraguay, wiping it out. Right, except for a few kids that hid. And then they just took as many of the women that they could find, and then it was like 5 wives to whatever Masonic soldier that could get in, and they repopulated Paraguay in the last 100 years since the Triple Alliance War. And then after the Germans came in, you had Alfredo Stroessner, who was the dictator until the 70s when he was getting old, and his sons, he had a really flamboyant gay military son who was cool but gay, and then he had another son who was like a extreme cocaine addict, and he built actually an entire extra city.
Was he
called
Paraguay or Paragay?
I like it. That's pretty funny. Ciudad del Este is a secret city, right? So you almost can't see it, but right here, there's a city that just sort of secretly started to develop here, and they just call it City of the East, Ciudad del Este, and it's basically filled with, people from Taiwan, people from Lebanon, people. Yeah, there's a lot of people from Taiwan.
Doing there?
Taiwanese are recognized by Paraguay as a country. Taiwan
recognized.
Oh yeah,
that's right. They still have diplomatic established.
1 of 10, right. I believe.
And North Korea also, a lot of North Koreans here, and they do trade so that you can get your scotch through Ciudad del Este flown. So a lot of the things you can't go directly to a place, they go through Paraguay, and then they can go to, it's the black market capital, specifically Ciudad del Este, where the son of Alfredo Stroessner lived. And, he was a drug addict, so eventually he was killed, and Stroessner lost control of Paraguay. And, now there's a guy who owns a soda company is in charge of it.
So where are the realists at?
Well, so the realists are supposed to be out here, right? Actually,
West Africa.
Yeah, there's the Spanish islands and the Canary Islands. Yeah, the Canary Islands, I think, is where a lot of them at. Raelians. Really? Yeah, Raelians have, well, at least the Clonade program is on one of the islands. They're from France originally, but Clonade, I think, is out of the Bahamas.
I think I was trying to sell you a toaster.
Yeah, that's weird. Right. So, I mean, but that's also interesting is once you get enough money to move off the side there. But okay, so Iguazu is interesting also because the Atomic Bariloche Center, which is just south of there, and they have a linear accelerator. And this is where the Hitler was supposed to have gone, was to Bariloche. And so where he was supposed to go, that's where they have this atomic research center.
There's an actual FBI document about him. Where I thought it was like Switzerland or something. No. I can't remember. There's like that document where they basically decide. They're like, what should we do? We know where Hitler is, and the response was just leave it be or whatever. Just like basically just let him go. It's like explicit. There's like supposedly like, or I've seen it. I don't know. It's authentic. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? The like letter about Hitler was like an FBI document.
Well, so there's a few, and so one of the stories was that he had multiple escape routes and several faked identities, so that he could have been in Syria.
You're talking about the FBI.gov of was it Wilson Woodrow, or the
Woodrow Wilson?
there you go, and that they saw him, or they found Hitler down in Argentina after the war.
Argentina, that's where it was.
Yeah, right. And it was it's up on the FBI.gov website because of the sunset clause or whatever, that it has to be public after 60 or 70 years or whatever the heck.
Yeah.
And
let's see what Snopes says.
False.
Well, of course they say it's false, even though it's up on the FBI government website.
Let's see why they say it's false. I'm always
really
curious with them. I don't care.
Okay. The story was permeated with links to official story letter collection referring to a man now defunct. So they're saying that there's someone that could have been him, but they can't be sure it was him. Right. But this is him. And it's funny because I've been saying this for years. I wanted to make this movie about Hitler, a play, really, would film it, but it'd be about Hitler in San Bernardino, Paraguay, because he had to leave Argentina because there was too many Italians and they're all communists.
Can't we just stable diffusion this back into Hitler?
Yeah, it'll be part of once the writer's strike happens, and he marries a black woman from Brazil or from North Paraguay, and he shaves his mustache, and he's got this little dog named Napoleon, and he's constantly working on Mein Kampf 2, and he can't get the boys back together because they're all lazy and comfortable now, and finally the dog chews up his copy of Mein Kampf 2.
Oh, that's brilliant! You should have Eagles of Death Metal do the soundtrack.
I think it'd be good.
This sounds like Beethoven too, a little bit, to be honest.
But also because it's San Bernardino, because like where he ended up is San Bernardino. I'll show you again in Paraguay, and it's the most poisonous part of Paraguay. This is beautiful, completely amazing, but the water there, everything is dead. All the fish and everything like that, you can't swim in it. People take boats on it still, but it's completely just horrible. And there's just and when I got there were leeches everywhere, and there was like creepy old Nazi polka music, and this like old lady in a rocking chair looking out the window. It was like Texas Chainsaw Massacre in Argentina, but it was Paraguay. But this whole place, they poisoned the water, and I don't exactly know what they did, but at this point, everyone knows just don't swim in it ever. And all the houses around there are these kind of amazing, they stick out, right? Like in Paraguay, you've got a bunch of people that own nothing but a dirt bike and speak their own Indian language. And then you've got some German dudes who have these mansions right on the lake with like their own pilot helicopter pads on the roof and things.
Lots of gold teeth.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Andreas, can you look into the message box?
Yeah.
I'm trying to link this British, I think he's the astronomer, right? His body, he vanished. He vanished, or this was like last year, was making headlines, and then say one of his assistants murdered him in Chile. But
what? Okay, that's weird. I wonder if I met this guy, because I used to go to a lot of the observatories. I remember mostly French guys, though. I don't remember a British guy in the top of my mind.
Yeah,
Paul Mars, binary stars expert.
But I think he was studying these red sprites that were like, those weird sprites that they're coming from the sky. You know what I'm talking about? Those red sprites.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're coming up from the outer, I guess, above atmosphere or whatever the tallest one is, and then coming into the brain fart. Always when you're live, you forget.
But it's like a strange phenomenon.
They're above the clouds. They're going into space, these red sprites, and then the thunderstorm goes down to the earth, right?
Yeah.
6079 Smith, can you get in touch on with Bernie somehow on the Discord? I can get you in there if you want to bring up something.
I don't know how to do Discord, but I can send them the link to join.
Yeah, figure if there's a way that you're welcome to come in for a couple minutes. I was gonna say
Discord.
I have we should do that. I have a friend who he's from France, and he lives in the Atacama Desert. He runs the large millimeter, sub-millimeter array, which is, these things are 30 feet tall. I don't know if you can tell, but you got to like, a person would be just slightly above these grates, like, right here. So they're huge. And he started out taking photos of satellites in France, and it became a hobby that if you do it properly, you can actually pick up on secret satellites, because you can take pictures in just the right way, and you can combine the information that you could track an object that's masked. And so the government told him to stop doing that and basically to leave France. And so he left his own country, ended up in Chile, and he's been working at the Atacama Array for the longest time. And I know they see a lot of weird stuff. I imagine they have to see pretty much everything. So I can't help but wonder if he wasn't abducted by aliens, but probably killed for seeing something.
Maybe he's alien. I don't know. Kind of like the plot of Arrival with the Charlie.
Maybe he just saw Sirius. Is Sirius still censored on all the programs to view space? So like there's like Microsoft Telescope back when, and the Google Sky. And if you look at Sirius, it's always censored. I wonder if you just saw that.
I wonder if it's fixed now.
When did Arecibo collapse in Costa Rica? Arecibo collapsed, and then China took over. Now they have the largest array in the world. Wasn't that 2000? Let me see, Arecibo.
2020. Is that right or no?
Yeah, it was 20. Yeah. Wait, is that right?
This is SyncTank, so
December.
I got a quick sync here, because we were just talking about Sirius, and I don't know if you guys, and we were also about 101 Dalmatians. The original sequel to 101 Dalmatians was about a dog spirit coming from Sirius down to Earth, setting all of the humans asleep, and they basically communicated to the dogs telepathically. All the dogs woke up, and they could fly through the air, and they could communicate telepathically, and they could control electronics with their mind.
What?
and the dog, yeah, this is it, the Starlight barking, and this dog comes from Sirius and tells everybody that, you know, basically the world's going to die, humanity is going to die, there's going to be a nuclear bomb that just completely, you know, destroys the world, and that all the dogs have to make a choice. They either stay with the humans on Earth or they fly out to the Sirius star and become, you know, gods in the skies. And the dogs decide that they want to give humanity a last chance, and they stay with the humans.
Oh my god, I want to see
And
this movie.
there actually is a movie. It's called Good Boy, but it's a horrible movie.
So this is a sequel to 101 Dalmatians.
This was the actual sequel as written by the author Dodie Smith, but this one was not adapted by Disney.
This
This has got to be adapted.
Yeah, this is
Well,
going
it's
on.
called Good Boy. There's a movie called Good Boy.
No, it was adapted. You know what it's called? It's called All Dogs Go to Heaven by Don
That's
Bluth.
what I was thinking, probably in a way.
Yeah, but
Especially
it's
the
not
sequel.
that
The
though.
cats.
It's not so explicit. Is the one that you're talking about explicit, like you're describing, like with the whole serious thing?
They don't show like the dogs flying and the people sleeping and you know, communicating with electronics, but it's the same premise that a dog comes from the Sirius star system.
Okay, yeah.
and
When you
tells
wish
about
upon a
saving
star,
humanity.
that's the whole
Pongo
thing. I'm
Slayer.
convinced. So like it's a thing.
Doggone people.
It's a thing. So like basically, you have the Hebrew word for lightning is Barak. So people say Barack Obama, lightning, whatever. But Barak,
Lion's
if you
lightning?
add an aleph, that's the Hebrew for Sirius. And so there's a whole argument that you have the three pillars, that you have the sun, the moon, and Sirius. And so it's our closest star, right? And so like I'm not an astronomer. Maybe people can correct me.
I ain't no astronomer or nothing.
But my understanding, and maybe I'm wrong, is that our sun moves with Sirius around the galactic center in the same way that our moon moves with the Earth around the sun. That we like rotate with Sirius, that our sun has this relationship where we're basically like twisting through, like it's part of our system. Like I mean, it's all part of the system, but you know what I'm saying? Like we have a special relationship with Sirius. It's kind of profound. So the Aleph is the first extension in the first pathway extending from Keter. So if you say that the middle pillar, if you're associating that with Sirius, you have this Aleph. So, and that's the beginning of the lightning flash. So when you describe the lightning 777 lightning flash that extends through the tree, if you add the Aleph to Barak, you get Sirius. So it would make sense then that that's indicating like in what order are you going to start this? Because really, when you're looking at the letters, like you have double letters and you have mother letters, and they happen to correspond to the horizontal, vertical, and diagonal pathways, and they would work that way. And so the old systems of the RE and before that, they always like take that into account, but the Golden Dawn just like straight up ignores it. But I think that this thing with Sirius as Barak is one of many clues of what the order is actually meant to be. And you'll actually find reference in commentary from the 16th century on the Zohar that indicates that the order that's given by the Golden Dawn and the OTO is actually like a traditional order. It's not like it's in, you know, Kabbalistic schools of old. So that's kind of, I think that would be controversial in real esoteric circles for me to say that, but it's kind of in the same vein as saying that a lot of the Jewish mysticism comes from Egyptian mysticism, which some people don't see a problem with. Even rabbis don't always see a problem with that, but some people are like, oh, don't, you know, we're something.
Well, you've got the rites of Memphis Mizraim, which is the same concept that all of the Freemasonic secrets came from, you know,
It's just a
Egypt,
binary
and that's
sun. It's a black
that's
hole
sort of
sun.
one you're not
That's what it
allowed to
is.
say.
Right,
What's
and even
up?
Plato would argue that with a lot of his stuff, right? That his utopian kind of ideal came from Egyptian priests, supposedly, like the Atlantis thing, as he wrote about it, supposedly came from Egyptian priests, according to him.
6079 Smith W showed up. You wanted to say something. What's up, buddy? Can you
Hey,
hear
how's
me?
it going? Thanks for having me.
No worries. Yeah,
I
What's
can hear
up?
you.
Hey,
You guys were
Andrew.
talking about Brazil and Hitler going to Brazil, and I thought it was interesting because SS, you know, or the Nazis are SS, and SS looks just like 55, which is Brazil's country code.
That's
Oh,
interesting.
you know, 55 has
Brazil
always
looks
been
like the word
the
Braille.
Saturn time
Like
code
if
for
you
me.
can't if you
You're
can't
breaking up.
see, you use Braille, and that looks just like their capital, Brasilia,
Huh.
or Braille, Brazil.
You know, Wilhelm Reich argued that the SS symbol was two people spooning, and that the swastika was them fucking. Just saying. In the mass psychology,
Mass psychology of
fascism.
fascism. I was just thinking, I was like, yeah.
Hey, Andrew, can you pull the? I just dropped something in the mailbox. So you guys were talking about serious, and I thought of a recent post. Yeah.
Right,
So,
of course.
So Truman Burbank is fairly serious about quitting his reality show. I mean, he's ready to quit his acting career. Basically, that's the article.
Fairly serious. Right.
Are you
Fairly
saying that
serious.
they actually chose that photo for an article and saying he's fairly serious?
That's
Like-
what it says. You know,
But did you put that picture there? That's them. Collider.com decided to put that
That's the
picture.
picture they used.
Okay, I give you the
Oh.
actual link to the article, so you don't think I made it up.
No, I believe you
don't
because I
think
can
you
see
made
the
it up.
eye.
I'm just
Yeah.
asking you. I believe you if you say it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a Collider article.
That's
Was
I
that
probably-
light actually called Sirius, the one that falls down and reveals the whole
Yes.
plot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You
interesting.
just know that?
Yeah,
right now?
you didn't know that? Yeah, it's craziest part. I remember that as a kid being like, really? Like, I just can't believe it's serious. Are you kidding me?
You can be serious. Yeah.
I didn't even get it. I just felt like they were messing with me. I could immediately tell, you know?
I dropped the article if you want to look at it.
Yeah, here we go. It'll pull up. Yeah, see the picture right there. That's the one they chose from the Truman Show. Fairly serious. Like, how do you fake that sync? That's all I'm saying.
No.
What was the Michael J. Fox movie? 666, 616, 666.
Well, I don't know. I just because it was the way they edited it, and it was the last frame. It was a 616.
I love Back to the Future, and I think Michael J. Fox is dreamy and all, but like the more you look into his life, was he not just like an amphetamine addict who never slept? Is there more to the story? Because it just seems to me like he was just way more hardcore.
He had to
than
take
anyone
this during the making of. Well, actually, that's what this documentary is about. It's coming out on Apple TV.
Yeah.
So it's basically he's going to talk about how I don't know if it's some kind of amphetamine based.
Watch series already. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, he had to take it throughout the filming of Back to the Future because he has motor functional problem. So I don't know what is it, Adderall?
No, I just know. I just remember the Family Ties episode where he's addicted to pills that week. Remember?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the best episode of Family Ties. It might be the only good episode of Family Ties.
How does that rank with Jesse gets addicted to no-dos on Saved by the Bell?
Oh,
That's the thing.
or Punky Brewster in the treehouse. Her friends pour out all the pills and shit all over the floor and joints and shit, and they're like, "Come on, let's do drugs, Punky." And she's just like, "That's
pretty
super
sure the
uncool."
dinosaurs drugs episode is the most messed up. Do you guys remember? the very
Okay,
special?
yeah. Okay, you win.
Oh my
dude.
god,
This
like
one
that-
wins.
He fights his dad, and then they start doing drugs, and like everyone's lazy, and the baby's like no longer mean because he's really hungry. Because
They just call it Happy Plant, right?
Yeah, Happy Plant, bro. That was a messed up episode.
Speaking of reptilians, I was watching the Mario Brothers, the 1993 version.
Mhm.
And I was watching again. Holy smoke! There's more 9/11 sync in there.
Oh yeah, all over the place, dude.
John Luke
God.
Leguizamo.
This movie is the best Super Mario movie ever made, and I'm so sad that people forget about it. It's the best movie.
It's got Trump in it.
But this is what I post. I pull up my synchronous stuff. But basically, Quentin Tarantino screened the movie on March 11th. March 11th at this, Quentin Tarantino, he purchased a theater in Los Angeles, right?
Right.
To show all these rare films. So he re-released it on March 11th before the release of the new film.
Right.
And so basically, I was watching it at home, and then when they were fixing the pipes down, let me see. I'm trying to scroll back to where I posted it, but in the scene where John Luigi, okay, so he was fixing the pipe, and he said, 116. 116. That's number of the size of the
size of the sprawler, right?
So was it mentioned before? Because I just discovered that. I know
I've tripped out on this movie like crazy. Yeah, when he spins the globe and he stops it with the two towers behind him, and there's a fire behind it. It's like I'm talking about Dennis Hopper is basically modeled after Trump in the same way that Biff is modeled after Trump in Back to the Future 2. That character, they were like, that's the archetype that they were going for, and it's so overt, so you have like this Trump character there with the tower and the King Koopa, KK, 1111.
Dennis Hopper from the Easy Rider, also like the levels there. I mean, yeah, and just the fact that it's Koopa as Trump is really interesting because the fact that we got to live through that, it's just. It seems like there's more than just a September 11th thing with the tower at this point. It's the Trump Tower, and
Well, I just dropped the snapshot in the mailbox. Oh,
There we go here. Yeah.
let's see. So it's so that's why you were saying that bottom open ended.
As above, so
Can I
below.
interject something there?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. What
Yeah,
do you,
so-
what do
So you
trying to
have
say, Steve?
I was just on Nintendo was released on the same day as Event 201, obviously a few years earlier. Nintendo has Operation Warp Tunnels, and then their last bad guys Bowser, and like we had the coronavirus, like bowing for a crowd. Last level's 8-4, like Obama's birthday.
Wow.
Oh, interesting.
Well, can I ask though? You
it-
guys were talking about 616, and I've heard other people mention that before. What does that have to do with the Beast? I'm not sure. I've heard it's an alternate number. I do know that Disney opened in China on 61616.
It's because of
Yeah.
the Arabic. It's actually, if you want a detailed explanation of it, the best recommendation is a book by William Sterling called The Canon, and you can actually find PDFs of it online. It's one of the best books I've ever read. It's a lot. It's all arithmetic, but it's basically like he's dealing with gematria, and he lays everything out.
And the earliest papyrus says 616, or it counts a sum of 616 instead of 666. So it's
Did you know?
Did you hear that
you know
though?
what-
That Disney opened in China on 61616.
right.
And
talking about the
Trump
Shanghai
used to always say
Disneyland?
drain the swamp. Trump
Yeah.
used to always say drain the swamp,
You're getting.
and that's what
the
they
last
did when
part,
they built the Magic Kingdom. And then Magic announced that he had a fake virus on the 311th day. And then
They're definitely. I'm
that?
not the one silencing you. I feel like the Google machines.
I was just saying,
he's gonna say some stuff.
Magic announced that he had a fake.
Yeah. I know what you said, and every time you say it, for some
Magic
reason, it's
announced that he had a
blinking.
fake virus on the 311th day.
Do you know what's the
Yeah.
most popular jet fighter in
And
the
it-
world? That's been sold to Taiwan, sold to Israel. The
F-16.
F-16. F is what?
Oh, nice one right there. The F-16 616.
616.
Wow.
Oh,
What's the deal with Fox and 666 again?
Because Fox is the sixth letter of the alphabet, O is the 15th, 5 plus 1 is 6, and X is the 24th letter of the alphabet, 4 plus 2 is 6. Those are in order the only numbers that you can extrapolate 6 from in basic reduction.
Wow.
Foxtrot.
Good job.
Yeah, which is why Firefox and all that stuff. Yeah.
That's pretty intense. Well, so let me go back a bit. So the Super Mario Brothers thing, though, there's a new Mario Brothers movie, and have you guys seen it yet? Because basically, what I got out of it is it's about reincarnation and about getting to the end of your dharma, right? Because he's got to constantly die because Mario dies all the time. And he has to keep getting.
He's saving Luigi in the new one, and I with Peach, and I like that premise. I'm fine with it, but I just feel like they should be trying to save Matt Damon. Like it should be like another search party film, but with I don't know.
See, what I think the problem, and I said this on base, and I'm gonna say it again, is that just because he gets to the princess doesn't mean she's gonna want to go home with him. And he's constantly been doing this, and it needs to get to the point where finally she makes the decision for herself to leave him and to go with Mario, and really he's got to prove that he's the one to go home with, not that
But
he has to carry her off.
He's an asshole landlord.
Yes.
Like the Mario. Didn't we discuss this?
Right.
Isn't that the Pope's first name?
Wasn't that the
Mario
origin
the
of
Pope?
Mario? Was
Yeah.
that Mario wasn't the actual landlord of the U.S. office? No.
Right. Mario Arnold Segal was an American businessman and real estate developer involved in various development projects in Seattle. Nintendo's mascot Mario was named after Segal while he was renting a warehouse to Nintendo.
Right, but this
Really?
is just the Wikipedia isn't telling you the dirty that he was an asshole.
Well,
they're
he was
going to tell
part
you
of the
that
mob, I
this guy
heard.
was an asshole. And they're like,
Yeah, I heard he's part of the mob, and he was really he pushed them around. And he's like, "Look, you're gonna give me my money, and you're gonna give it to me now."
Exactly.
And the Japanese were like, "I like this guy. He's really so American."
He was born on Hitler's birthday.
Oh,
there you
what?
go.
I didn't even see it. Let's go back. I
We moved
didn't
up
even
to
bother to
pipes.
do the sync of it. Yeah, no, he's not. He's born April 30th. Hitler's April 20th.
I mean, the day Hitler died.
Okay, I'll take it.
Oh,
This is another interesting. I kind of I put together another sync where the Mario, Luigi was played by John Leguizamo, right? And he was dating the princess Toast. I mean Daisy. That's not Toast in the movie.
I thought it
Right?
was Peach.
So,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Pete. So what happens when I'm trying to bring it up? I'm sorry, I'm trying to see if I can just show you the snapshot. But basically, it's 93, right? 1993. That's the Lima, right? So at that time, I'm trying to scroll back.
I also have
easier
a
if I
theory
just-
that they screwed that movie up on purpose. Like all it takes to make a movie succeed is you tell people it's good, and all it takes to make a movie bad is you tell people it's bad. I mean, it's not that hard for them to ruin a movie in a theater. And there's a few just choice editing moves you do to speed up a scene or make something look grungy on purpose. It's going to look away. So I feel like they wanted the movie to fail, and the ending sequence you have Yoshi, right? Yoshi. Keep looking for your thing, by the way, but Yoshi in the Mario movie is this thing. It's like, it's not Yoshi. It's something from Turok or from Tomb Raider. It's something from PlayStation.
Are you talking? You're talking 93, or are you talking about the new one? You're saying that
the original Super Mario
the original
Bros.
was set up to fail.
Okay, guys,
it was set up to fail so that they could produce it and make Sony succeed. That's what I think.
No, okay, hold on. Have any of you guys seen the movie? I took my whole family to see the new movie. So the ending of the movie
The first part
was actually Yoshi's egg.
Right.
We waited until all the credits rolled up.
Oh,
and
really?
It showed at Yoshi's egg.
So it's always about Yoshi's egg. Wow.
Yeah. So if you go back to that screenshot with the nuns that you just showed, that post I made.
Let me see what
So, so that's the egg of Daisy, right?
Daisy.
No, I mean, no, it was my post. It was you're showing my.
Oh, I was okay. Hold on. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, this one.
I was like, where am I gonna find that picture?
So this is the beginning of the old movie, and then the new movie ends with another egg of Yoshi's. So I don't know, just weird. And the new movie came out on Easter weekend, you know.
Right.
So I don't know. This is
so
weird.
deep. You think about the original movie, you've got reptilians that are fighting mammalians, and there's a sort of root race that connects the reptilians to the humans, and that's what Princess Toadstool is, and that kind of gives it away. It's mycelial mushroom, right? The mushroom princess. She's a super evolved mushroom. Koopa's a super evolved reptile. We're super evolved primates, but it's kind of interesting how it's all tied together through the mushroom kingdom.
Well, it also ties into the wizard, which we've discussed before. So the wizard strange attracts Super Mario Brothers movie like crazy. This is the introduction of the Power Glove and Super Mario Brothers 3.
And love, really, if you think about it. Yeah.
Right.
This movie had me awake for like 2 weeks straight without going to sleep. I'm not even kidding. I remember I was like 6 or 7 years old. I'd wake up in the middle of the night thinking that I had Super Mario 3, and I'd like run downstairs and look, and then remember I didn't even have a Nintendo, but I had seen this movie so many times. It felt so real. I was ready to get the whistle at the very end, man. This thing was like the most powerful MK Ultra programming on the planet to me at that time.
Well, remember that it culminates at the giant reptiles, at the dinosaurs.
Right,
So,
and I just went to a Sinclair gas station like 4 days ago for the first time in 5 years, so that's also weird.
Oh, really? I was driving with Amy past there, and I was like, I'm not gonna not stop. Like, I was like,
I'm not gonna not stop. Yeah.
Is this the same one from Pee-wee's Great Adventure too?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, and what's weird to me about the Sinclair is, from the Da Vinci Code, the St. Clair's temple, the Scottish Rite have is St. Clair, the Sinclairs. And so they're supposed to be the Merovingian descendants of Christ, the Sinclairs, according to their mythology or traditions.
It's misleading in Pee-wee's Big Adventure because the way they show it where they're in its mouth, like that's not really what it is. Like if you can go into, there's like a shop inside the Brontosaurus, and then if you go into the T-Rex, you can go up to its mouth, but it's not like a place to chill with seats and stuff like they show in the movie in either place, but anyway.
Hey, Andres, can you pull up the mailbox again? I just dropped another post I made.
Jump there right now.
This is regarding so John Leguizamo started dating Samantha Mathis, right? Mathis. So
did you get frozen?
She got frozen.
Right? So
must
they
have
broke
important.
up after the year 93, and
you're good now.
And then so she dumped. After the movie was released. So it was released 3 months after the World Trade Center bombing, right? In February, and she dumped him for River Phoenix.
Oh,
and then So River Phoenix. Well, first we know 9/11, the night flight 93 in North Tower, 93rd floor, and then of course Johnny Depp. River Phoenix died on Halloween 1993. So I don't know. Everything just converged in this one year.
Do you remember River Phoenix was the younger Indiana Jones in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade in Zion National Park, which explains why he's afraid of snakes. Because he falls into a viper pit. He falls into with the viper in the water, and it comes out in this whole thing, and then he would later, shortly thereafter, die in the viper room.
I used to go to the viper room and play shows a lot, and I would try to avoid using the bathroom. Like it was always creepy, man. Just
and everything's all velvet, right? Everything's all made of velvet.
And dark,
really,
super dark,
really weird. Yeah.
Hey,
and you know what? But another personal thing. I was at Disneyland for my kid's birthday in March. And we got stuck on the Indiana Jones ride, and so it was a war stuck. I mean, the ride would get stuck every once in a while. Right? The ride would have to evacuate everybody, but this time I actually had to walk through the whole darn place. and I walked by all these vipers, those big snakes that they had in there, and so I was watching, and I saw Indiana Jones hang from the ceiling, the big ball, the stone.
You're gonna have some cool dreams, yeah. Sounds like
I have everything recorded on video. I'm gonna put on YouTube. It's hilarious. I was cracking joke with everybody.
Have you seen Jordan Bartee's video on Indiana Jones? It's like 23 minutes long. I think it's called Initiation. Do you know Jordan Bartee's Sync Century? It's spelled weird, how he spells Sync Century, but it's with a K and a whole thing. I don't know, man. And it might find him. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, that's it. That was the video back there. Yeah. You go back to where you were, even though this is his channel. But
Initiation.
Initiation. This shit, man. This is unfreaking believable sync film. And yeah, he just shows 9/11 and various things in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade specifically. But yeah, they've got Jake Coates there, and then he breaks shit down in a really interesting way. Great. This was inspired by Sorry Cassandra, by the way. He watched Sorry Cassandra all straight through, had this kind of realization that he's I just want it to be schizophrenic, with so many layers and so much shit going on. Talks about here about the 39 thing with the 39 lashes. It's trippy.
Interesting.
Did you guys see the new trailer? The final Indiana Jones trailer?
Yeah, I did see the trailer.
That thing is full of. I made a post about it too.
Is it the fifth one you're making?
Yeah, it's definitely encoded everywhere in that damn thing.
So it's about time travel, isn't it? He's supposed to have they're messing with time, and so he has.
Oh, it's like a Montauk thing. What's going on?
It's gonna be like a Montauk, and he's gonna have him they're gonna CGI him young again. So you're gonna have him young and old. So he'll be acting as himself with a CGI puppet of himself.
And also the music that was playing, it was Rolling Stone. It was Rolling Stone, Sympathy for the Devil.
Oh shit! Some Altamont business. Yeah.
Yep. So also the release of the trailer was on April 7th, which is 47th Euclid, right? So, and then also then we talk. I made a little post, but it's not very cohesive. But they exhibit the 59th Street. Let me just give you the link so you can see this. But there's a whole bunch. He was riding the horse through.
It looked like a scene from Caddyshack.
We've talked about this before, but I want to bring up also that the original version of Indiana Jones wasn't going to be that he's picking up a stone from the golden. Remember when Indiana Jones picks up the golden statue, the golden bust, the idol or whatever it is. That's not the original scene. The original version they wanted was going to be that he goes to Area 51. There's an atomic explosion and he escapes in a lead-lined refrigerator, and they couldn't afford to do it. And so that's why that lead-lined refrigerator scene happened in the fourth movie. When he survives the refrigerator, that was the original intention of the movie. But because they couldn't do it, what they decided to do instead was let's just replace it with something else. And so they took the original DuckTales comic book from 20 years earlier about Scrooge McDuck and how he goes and steals a golden bust idol. Let me see if I can find the DuckTales.
You're talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark. That scene was what you're describing was inspired by DuckTales?
Yeah, absolutely. It's scene for scene taken from DuckTales. They actually have the exact scene. I don't know if I can find the comic immediately.
So they
scene.
did the thing that he did where he like had to weigh out and exchange it. So
Yeah.
like they kind of did that, is what you're saying. That's weird.
No, they literally did it. I wish I could find,
I like that you're looking for it in DuckDuckGo.
yeah,
With
that's even better.
DuckTales,
There's a lot
This
going
makes
on
me
with
think
that.
that the DuckTales
can't be
story.
found in DuckDuckGo. That's just wrong.
Well, maybe the
That's just
DuckTales
really
story
abrupt.
might have been based on some other story too, though.
Yeah, 6 things you never know stolen from
Sucks,
DuckTales. I can't even find it anymore. But yeah, basically,
It's scrubbed, man.
they
don't
scrubbed the
want to know.
DuckTale records. There's a lot of other things too, like DuckTales invented methylene, right? That's like
DuckTales, Illuminati confirmed.
this is my favorite. Was that there's a comic from the 50s where he gets hit in the head and he says, "If I mix CH2 with NH4 and boil the atoms in osmotic fog, I should get speckled nitrogen." And then they tried it 20 years later and they invented a new carbene molecule called methylene. And they want to, so they jokingly bestowed the Nobel Prize to William Kerms and Donald Duck, right? So,
Sweden
sweet.
is crazy about DuckTales, man. Swedes go it's everywhere, man. You got
They look
DuckTales
like
comics,
DuckTales
got
people
new
to
ones
me.
all the
I don't know what
time.
that means, but
Oh,
good.
and you know what? I was when I was at Disneyland with my kid for his birthday. I took that ride, the Mickey, the what is it called? The Lost Train, the the new ride that just came out in the
No, I
Toontown.
don't.
No, new
You guys were
ride.
talking.
Toontown.
Yeah, the Mickey train.
Yeah, reimagined. Yeah, they reimagined it. That's right.
Just help me decide the next model I'm going to train is going to have to be Howard the Duck.
Right.
Right.
You were Howard.
Play Duck
Same
magazine. I want a
character.
copy, like a real copy of
no,
Play
we're
Duck
gonna make
magazine.
one,
That'd be so dope.
Oh,
Mickey's
the Runaway
Toontown.
Train.
So they
The
got
Runaway
rid of like the old Toontown, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit thing, and now it's just full on Neo Disney stuff, which is weird because they don't own Mickey anymore. So why would they do it? I guess.
But that ride was very bizarre. I mean, it's just I don't know. I haven't really put up. I would try to see if you guys, because I thought you talked about it like a couple weeks
Is it?
ago.
It's this one, right? Or something?
Yeah,
the railroad one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, was it you? Somebody did. They showed us going through the whole ride and how terrifying it was. I forget, was it Vigil or somebody went through the whole ride and how all these things were going down on it.
Yeah, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Train.
Steve Wilner took a bunch of acid and jumped out of the ride in was it Pirates of the Caribbean, and was like splashing around in the water, and they like had it like he got taken to Mickey jail or whatever.
Yeah.
It was the whole thing.
You don't want to touch that water either, though, man.
Yeah, it's full of human ashes, because keep human ashes.
How else do you keep it so clean? I don't know. The new Mario movie though seems like has less dimensionality, and they're making movies now. It seems like all these movies we talked about in the past are so deep with disclosure symbolism, and then the new movies are just sort of like esoteric symbolism, kind of like a painting. They're just there. It is, so you can see that we've won the war, but they're not saying we're about to do something.
The original Mario movie, though, from the 90s, that one was more like its own movie, and then they put on the Mario sort of facade on top. They like stretched on the skin suit because it had, almost nothing to do with the Mario brother actual storyline.
I don't know. I mean, what is the Mario Brothers storyline? You have a drugged out mechanic who can't seem to stay in the real world, and as he takes drugs, mushrooms, and acid tab stars, he gets deeper and deeper into the underworld of his subconscious.
But if that's the case, I'd propose that Robert De Niro in Brazil is more of a Mario than
no, but it's true. One. It's true. Mario Brothers 2 is actually another game that was made into a Mario game because it didn't work the way that they were doing it. I can't remember. There's a story.
Right. He was trying to make Popeye, and then they brought him.
It was Popeye. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I mean, Doki Doki Pan.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Andreas, I just dropped something. Check out in the mailbox. Let's see.
Hasn't loaded yet.
Andre, I appreciate you having me on here tonight. Andre.
Yeah, bro. What's up, man? Yeah, thank you. What's up?
I just wanted to tell the host I appreciate you having me on here tonight.
Dude,
can I share something real quick, and I'm going to take off for the night?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, what do you got?
Okay, see, I hear from your chat from your chat, it seems like you guys do gematria or something, gematria, however you say it.
Gematria, yeah.
We have a lot of fights over it.
I don't do a ton of it, but I do other numbers. So if I can give you this, it'll take a minute. We have on the day JFK died, Obama, who was born 8-4, was 840 days old. So too died that day was the writer of Brave New World, because obviously we live in a chicken shit world.
Aldous Huxley?
Yes, died the same day as the JFK assassination. So
Yeah, November
on the
22nd.
33rd anniversary of the JFK assassination, because we all know they love the 33, Kobe was 6,666 days old. 9,999 days later is the X marks the spot Golden Bull Mark of the Beast eclipse, and it's going to have totality over Torreon, Mexico, toro from the word meaning bull. Kobe is drunken beef, which is a bull. The Shroud of Turin is in Turin, Italy, and their coat of flags and their coat of arms and their flag is a golden bull. I got a ton to share. I'm not trying to talk over anybody or whatever. Appreciate you having me here. I'll try to stop in
we should
another
definitely
night.
get you
Thanks for
back
having me.
with
I
Alex.
give you homework.
Alex
I give you
Holden.
homework because since you mentioned Kobe helicopter crash, you should look into. It's the same exact helicopter that Prince William's riding that he's operating. And
Get this. Get
Queen
this.
Elizabeth
One
hated
more for you
on
guys.
it.
One more for you guys. Get this, though. Helicopter crash. Kobe's from Lower Merion High School. On the 23rd anniversary of the MLK assassination, Senator Hines, like Heinz 57 sauce, died. No, I'll get back to that. Died in a helicopter crash at Lower Merion. And Heinz 57 is from Pennsylvania, like the 57th Super Bowl. Pat Tillman's from Arizona. He died 57 days before Kobe. He was born the 311th day. He died the 113th day. Arizona was just big in the election with Carrie Lake and Katie Hobbs. Carrie Lake, like a lake of fire. Well, she has the same birthday as Kobe. And Katie Hobb, like Hopkins, means son of Hobb. And Hobb's an old name for the devil.
And guess
I like
what?
Carrie Lake. I met
Speaking
her.
of
She's nice
Heinz,
lady.
I voted for John Kerry, the Skull and Bone. The married.
You voted for John Kerry?
Of course he
That was the
did.
last time
For
I
work?
voted before I quit. Because I found about Skull and Bone.
I would have quit after that vote.
God, I didn't want to
They
mention
all
it, but
suck.
Ron Paul's after this, you guys should watch. I would never usually give a plug like this, but you know, Ian and Tim are talking to Ron Paul. So when you're done with this, you should check out whatever Ron Paul's saying right now. But I mean, I voted for Ron Paul. I think that was the time I recognized how weird things were because I knew friends.
So
I was like, why aren't people voting for Ron Paul? And it's like, well, we're getting paid to tell people who to vote for. I knew people that were getting paid like $11 an hour, $50 an hour to go proselytize Obama. And they're like, well, I don't really like what he does, but he's paying me. I'm like, oh my God, we can't win this.
Dude, if
I have
RFK
so
runs
much on Obama,
as
so
as
I
political,
appreciate you having me.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully, I can
Dude,
get
we'll
back
see
on
you.
with you another night.
Yeah,
Can you please
hit me up in the
can you
Discord or Twitter? Yeah.
I can't download Discord yet, but when I can, I will. Will you look at my community posts at some point? I don't have hardly any videos. My videos suck. I got good community posts. I got
What
a
do you mean on
different
your
mind.
YouTube channel?
So,
Guys, everybody go to
Yes.
6079 Smith W and subscribe to his channel and check it out. I mean, he's got community posts.
that'd be huge. I'll start making videos someday. God bless you all. Thank you.
Dude, love you, man. Peace.
I like that we can do
Legit.
that. It's like having in a caller, like
Yeah.
like that's really fun.
We got to work on format for that. I
It
like
just
that.
feel
idea
like
a
an
lot.
Art
Call on
Bell
the
show or something, you know.
Hey, Andrews, can you pull down? Can you pull the message box?
Oh yeah. That's right.
So
This guy here. Yep. Of course. Oh, this is like a nice, clean cut of it too.
it's a good
Ask
one. Huh?
about Illuminati.
Not only is it about asking about
Illuminati
the Illuminati,
confirmed.
but ska, I think is important here too, because ska is really big in Long Beach, and with some of those bands that like to play at Disneyland, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one too where he goes to see his boss, and his boss is in his penthouse, and he's got the big Illuminati golden pyramid, and I think it might even have the all-seeing eye of Providence in it. I'm not sure.
I like the episode where he loses his memory and then he becomes aware that there's economic discrepancy in the community. And so he starts leading the people to attack Scrooge McDuck and to liberate the finances of Scrooge McDuck, you know, until he finds out he is Scrooge McDuck and he becomes the thing he hates.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot in there. But yeah, do you think so with the Illuminati and DuckTales, like, I don't think this is just some angry animator doing tweens, right? This seems kind of more than that. What do you think?
Well, like I told you, most of my my colleagues in animation, who does the background and props, they're the Shriners. They're the one. They're the mischiefs who
So
put
they're
all
just
these
trying to
shady
help
stuff in the
kids out.
background.
They're just trying to get these kids to.
They're the ones who put
welcome in.
9/11 all over Simpsons.
But what does it say here? Because, like, I mean, I've always seen Ask About the Illuminati, but you've got such a clean. Let me see if I can open this a little bit better.
This is the hierophantic task to basically to
What's it
initiate to initiate people subliminally. So when the big thing when the cover is finally pulled completely, it's like we already knew that, It's
What's
it's
it
an
say underneath Illuminati?
acclamation to
Ask about the
This is-
Illuminati. Think about it. What's it say? Things they do. Illuminati things.
I can't read that, dude.
This one always felt like a
True.
Discordianism
I
sort
think,
of approach too, right? Of just like, let's put the Illuminati out into the public sphere as much as possible. That
Yeah.
particular name.
Yeah.
Things out from Wilson who did it. Oh, here's another angle. Oh, here. Here's another one. This is actually from a different angle. So they actually the background artist actually painted it several times. Hilarious.
Illuminati.
I'm dropping
confirmed.
this
What is happening in this episode? I want to know that because I've seen this image so many times, but
This
I
is
don't
the
know
one
the context.
I think this is
I-
the one I'm talking
just-
about where he
I
loses
just
his
posted
memory.
another
Right?
one.
Oh,
Look
really?
up-
This is the same one?
Yeah.
He's got the doctor about his memory being lost, and it says that behind him?
Isn't that the one?
Tog. What is that?
Tot?
What? Tot. Oh, ask
Tau?
about Tau.
That definitely says Illuminati.
Illuminati taught Illuminati.
Is it the Tao? What was that?
I see
Tao?
Tao.
Yeah, Todd.
Yeah, but the naughty has two eyes. Is
Let's
the
zoom
eye
in
for
a
the
little
next
more.
part? So is it like I taught or something?
Illuminati confirmed.
That's about
at
Illuminati I
gmail.com.
taught.
Let's see if I can
Illuminati.
find another angle.
I taught.
Well, also that says ILLAUM, and I just want to point out that Aum and the Tau seems like those might be related, unless that's just a misspelling, right? But did they intentionally misspell Illuminati right there?
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? Maybe that's a gematria thing.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
Aum is also a Masonic reference.
Oh, AUM for like,
Yes.
maybe they're making it like, yeah, because
That's the Masonic version of Om is AUM.
Right, exactly. Yeah, totally.
Okay, I
Illuminati.
just dropped another one right about now. Okay, yeah, dropped another one. It's just like there's so many versions out there. I'm trying to look up.
Yeah, my phone is just buzzing over here, man. I'm like, who is
Bob?
that?
Yeah,
Oh,
shout out
sorry.
Juan. We talked about Aum on a cult book club on one of the episodes.
Oh, this is the best one.
Oh.
Okay, here we got the best version right here. We're gonna
Shout out Juan. We're trying to bait you, Juan, the show, Juan.
Yeah, Juan. I'm sorry. I was supposed to do a show with Juan the
Another
other
one.
day, but I didn't quite get back in
Here's
time.
next one.
Fails him. Juan, you got a book with me. I'll never fail you, I swear.
A Scott, Illumintom, Twig
This
Boys.
complete box.
Twig Boys?
They're just playing around now.
At this point, it's like your glasses
Bye-bye.
don't work anymore.
Twig
You need
Boys.
new pair of glasses.
Tau Boys? The G Boys. The G Boys?
Can
This is how you
you
feel.
zoom in more?
You have thoroughly failed your eye exam. I'm like, Scrooge.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's
I'm
the secret
trying
of the
to-
Illuminati eye exam. You always feel it.
Yeah.
TWG boys.
Wait,
Buys.
God, dude,
They're,
these
they're the
backgrounds
Tug
have-
Boys, all right? Illuminati confirmed. Tug Boys.
Is it Tug Boys or is it Buys? Twig
Well, 'cause
Buys.
before it was supposed to be-
TWG Buys.
It was supposed to be ask about Illuminati, and where did the about go? Now it's just
Right.
ask Bow.
Yeah, that's
It's
bullshit.
sloppy. It's beyond.
It
his
could
pay
be
grade.
coded, man. I mean,
I feel like there's got to be the things
there's
changing
gotta
in
be a
between them.
code.
Yeah, we're going to have to go deeper.
There's a cipher, right? Every time they add or remove a letter, that represents like the actual Masonic cipher that you need to
Dude,
break it all down.
We're going to have to get GPT on the case, man.
Tying it back to Spotify, have you guys ever looked at Spotify and caught them doing Photoshop over something that came from like mainstream media that isn't Photoshopped? Like where they're
Spotify?
like, oh, this picture's fake, and then they show you another picture to prove
mean
that the picture's
Snopes?
fake. But then, yeah, Snopes. So what did I say? Snoops. I don't know what the fuck-
Spotify.
Oh, yeah.
Spotify. I am out of it. I'm sorry. But anyway, yeah. Point being, like that. Basically, like you'll be looking at an image that is clearly a photoshopped image. If you know Photoshop, like you zoom into it and you can see how they did it, and then they'll be like, "This is the real image," and then you're like, "Well, then why are you the only people showing it?" Like, it's like I've caught them doing that kind of stuff. It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Notes
Snopes is
is
pretty
taken
evil.
here.
Bad,
Well,
dangerous, deceptive site for sure. Creates
I
a strong
always
man.
read the Snopes though. If somebody responds with something with the Snopes, I always look. I'm like, well, what is their argument? Because every so often too, it'll actually debunk something. That's
Yeah, but
like,
for the most part,
it's
it
like
picks something that it can choose is not true, and it fights that, and it
I just
ignores
don't like
anything
the
you're talking about.
It's the genetic fallacy. It's where you dismiss something on source alone. Like people do that with Fox all the time. It's
I
like,
remember when
oh, you heard that one.
When Snopes used to just be about like, do people or how many spiders do you eat while you're asleep? That was Snopes for like the first 3 or 4 years of their existence, right?
Yeah,
And then all
do
of a sudden they got
earwigs
into,
really
like,
crawl in your ear?
yeah. Dude, I mean, you're joke. I mean, that's not even a joke. That was like a legit Snopes article at some point.
well, I like this one recently. Not that one. The Snopes retracts 60 articles plagiarized by co-founder. Our staff gutted. You remember the David Mickelson scandal, right? Like, so the guy who started Snopes is like a cat fetishist, polyamorous
Totally.
Democrat.
Yeah. He's
I'm
wild, dude. That guy. Oh my god. Oh, it's painful.
Nope,
I
say
don't want
Yeah,
to put the word
it's
fetish
good.
in too deep, but like there it is.
Looks
Here's the picture
looks.
that comes up when you think about it. And he spent like all the money at Snopes on hookers and blow and things like that. And yeah, look how fat his cat is. You know what I mean? Like, wow. Like, all right.
Is it like lasagna?
Isn't she like a big time like anti-abortion like Christian kind of like?
I don't know if she is she. I just
I
know
don't
that
think-
she's his
I don't
handler.
think she's ever been impregnated. Look at her.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Barbara
Oh,
Mickelson.
boy.
Yeah, they had a huge criminal
Well, I'm
drug
just
soaked
saying, I'll
business
look up
cards
the
and
original
capacity
meaning
victims.
of fetish, pre-19th century.
But, they'll say
technical fetish is like that's literally like you're obsessed with that one thing. Like that's everything. It's like it's a disorder, type of disorder basically. Unless if it's something really healthy, and then I guess it can work for you.
my
So-
God.
So when
Who is
when
this
was
guy?
Snopes established anyway? When did it start to debunking? It just kind of came out of nowhere since the 9/11, I think.
Well,
I think
I
there
mean,
were a few
I
sites
remember
like
since
that.
before
1994.
9/11.
Yeah, 1994. They had an urban folklore website, and there was a bunch of little sites like that existed. And it's kind of like how Craigslist was really useful for human trafficking. So the NSA like held on to it. It's the same thing with Snopes. They're like, we can use this to control misinformation.
Oh,
So
yeah.
let it become. It's grown up enough that we'll just buy it and take care of it. That's kind of what it looks like happened. Money got injected, and
Right. It pulled a GM on like the electric car and the trolley system. It's just like, buy the thing and then change it.
September 22nd, September 16, 2022, David Mickelson stepped down as CEO and was succeeded by shareholder and board member Chris Richmond. Right. So he required 100% of the company, ending the ownership dispute in 2017. So they've been trying to take over and disrupt the way it was to begin with for a long time. And now it's just another shadowed company. Right.
And I want to shout out my Connect the Dots book here. This is the children's book about chemtrails, and at the very end, I can't help myself but to make fun of Snopes.
Nope.
But so at the end of every book, someone just looks up, whether or not something's true, and they always look at Nopes, and of course it just says nope, and that's the whole argument.
Oh wow! Did you commission an artist to do this book, and you
did, yeah.
basically wrote it?
This is 50 pages. Yeah, I had one of my friends help me write it as well here. Shane O'Shaughnessy.
You're like that guy, American Splendor. What's his Harvey Picar? Aren't you kind of?
Still have
Because Harvey Picar, he came up with the conception, came up with the story. He'd do it with like stick figures, and he's like, "This is what I want," and then Crumb and various artists would then depict it. You're doing
And Lee
Harvey
did that
Picar.
too, to be
Are
fair.
you not?
I'll take that on the arm. Yeah.
Okay.
Is there more stuff you wanted to make sure that we pull up to show, Eddie? Because we're getting near the end there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can just start scrolling. I mean, maybe from the synchronous web Facebook, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm trying to think because I kind of skipped out last week. I didn't really talk about anything. Let's see. Oh yeah,
we still got to go deep into Sardoz and Wizard of Oz. We kept waiting. We'll do it again.
Okay, so that's a new. They just discovered missing pages of the Matthew, the New Testament. That's
no.
2,000 years
This is the one where like Jesus got hammered, and then everyone had to find out where he was, and he was lost for 3 days. They picked him up at the drunk tank at the end.
This is the Willem Dafoe Jesus, right?
Yeah.
The Last Temptation.
It was the weekend that Jesus wanted to forget.
Mary Magdalene is not a woman.
Well, that would be giant news if you're saying that there's another part of the gospel that was unseen, and now it's what is the story there? Is that real?
It's on physics.org. Why? What is going on? Yeah.
I don't know why physics.org is featuring it. It's weird.
The
The
Catholic
Gospels
Church wouldn't?
inscribed was about 1,300 years ago. A scribe in Palestine took a book of Gospels inscribed with the Syriac text and erased it. Parchment was scarce in the Desert Middle Ages, so manuscripts were often erased and reused. So they were able to figure out what it said underneath it, I guess.
This is a way to talk
That makes
about
more sense. Underneath the
reincarnation.
Mona Lisa, where she's an alien.
Disappearing ink, man. The magic New Testament.
This is
Oh,
like
yeah.
the plot of National Treasure too, isn't it?
And who
Is
framed
there?
Roger
There's
Rabbit?
more to the Bible and National Treasure?
Ye-
Sure.
Well,
Well,
there's
no,
that invisible ink thing.
the Declaration of Independence had like
Oh,
some
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
secret
Right.
message written on the back or something.
Well, definitely
Yeah,
does.
yeah,
Yeah.
The bees. That's very interesting. That's also about I don't know. I'm trying to link the queen, the royal jelly that makes a queen.
I do love royal
Um,
jelly.
it's
Let's get more.
Well, so that article, I'm trying. I haven't finished reading it. It's a really big article, but I'm trying to connect the royal jelly function that creates a queen out of ordinary bee. Maybe it has something to do with adrenochrome, and adrenochrome is actually featured in this article. They talk about the yeah. It's on somewhere in the middle of it, but I'm trying to connect the dots because they're trying to figure out the royal jelly, which is secreted by the nursing bees that they exclusively feed and put the baby queen bee in the what's that called in an only container, right? And to evolve into the queen, but that royal jelly itself is secretion that is similar to adrenochrome.
Hey,
there
Eddie, does
was
this
action. Good.
No, you go ahead, sir.
Well, I was gonna say that there was actually you said bees and adrenochrome. There was a 1983 paper on adrenochrome as an inhibitor of epinephrine effects, and they tested it on the glucose levels of honeybees. Yeah, they're
Oh, you got to. Can you dig that out for me?
I'll post it right now.
That's going to establish it because somebody was arguing with me over this point, and I'm trying to defend it.
No, there's definitely evidence that epigenetics can be unlocked by certain sequences of vitamins like D3, B17, B12, A. There's different specific vitamins that can help. And then, so that article, is this it? Histone deacetylase inhibitor activity in royal jelly might facilitate Cas switching in bees. In other words, epigenetic switches that happen to your DNA, turn on functions, turn off functions. But really what's interesting is the main difference is most bees are infertile, right? So basically what you have is you have a whole bunch of people which are, bees.
Females.
You have a bunch of bees which are eunuchs, or females. That's true. No, aren't there male bees?
Oh, no, the drone bee is the only male. Yeah,
right. So you got drones working
have, like,
all
these
day.
huge eyes. Yeah.
They work all day. They have no free time. But then again, the queen has to just breed all the time. So really, she's their slaves. I think is.
Don't
how
they have the Fibonacci sequence like encoded into their birth patterns, which is distinct from human beings? Like what the Fibonacci sequence and B.
You remember when Alvin and the Chipmunks? There's an episode where Simon keeps waking up, sleepwalking, and painting Fibonacci pattern graffiti all over town while he's asleep. It was crazy.
El Barto.
Yeah, dude.
Well, that looks like an incantation circle or an incantation bowl. Exactly what they look like.
I don't think I'm going to find more incantation bowls if I type Alvin and the Chipmunks, but you get the point. They're connected ideas.
Yeah, but they kind of have a Huey, Dewey, and Louie thing going on.
They do. And there's Scientology involved. It's crazy. Plus, they're Armenian. I mean, figure that one out. But the epigenetics, I think that the main thing we're going to find is that it's not so much that we're going to become queen bees, but it's like the 12th Monkey movie where the whole point is that a certain caste will be allowed to stay fertile, right? They want to make sure that the only people that are hormonally capable are a small caste, and then that way the rest of the people become drones, right?
You know who the bee lady was in the Wicker Man remake with Nicolas Cage, who played the bee lady. She was I don't know what her actual
bee movie
role was, but
because Nick Cage isn't Nick Cage also in the bee movie? Right?
No, that was the Wicker Man, right? It's not Wicker Man.
No, but there's another movie. There's a bee movie. It was about a guy who becomes a bee, and there's Freemasons all over it, right? Where's the thing with the bees? Like, is this it? Is this the one? What's the other B movie?
No,
No,
I
B
think it's
movie
the-
with Seinfeld, but
It's the Ant movie you're thinking of.
You're
I
thinking of the
think.
Is
Ant
it?
movie. Yeah, I think so.
No,
Ants.
Yes,
Ants with a
okay.
Z, right?
But
Okay, because
the
the grandma's
girl.
chair. Do you remember
Oh,
the
dude.
grandma's chair in the Ant movie?
Oh shit!
Oh,
And look at her sweater, the UFO on her sweater with Saturn and the
Confirmed.
star.
Oh wow! I
Serious?
didn't know
But
that.
the lady who's the bee lady in the Wicker Man remake is the woman in Eyes Wide Shut who asked him about if he wanted his cloak lined with what was it? Oh shit! You know I'm talking about the lady in the shop who's with the young girl who's with the older Asian men in a provocative way. What was the you know what I'm talking about? You guys have seen Eyes Wide Shut, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, in the rainbow shop, that
yeah, yeah.
that young girl, that's
Yeah,
the girl in
Lily
freaking Wicker Man
Zabiskie.
with the bees.
Mm.
You mean Lily Zabiskie, the actress?
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't remember her name.
Oh,
Yeah,
Lily
that's it.
Sobieski?
Sobieski, yeah.
Oh, that's right. And she's
So-
in
so
Jungle
which
to
mo-
Jungle, which is the remake of Les Enfants in the City or whatever. You know that.
Right. So yeah, so like when
Super cute
Nicolas
for a
Cage
girl
is
who
like the
literally stole the
bees, not the
face of Helen
bees or
Hunt.
whatever. She was in charge of the bees, man.
I always had a crush on Lily Sobieski.
You know what? She left Hollywood because she said there's too much sex.
Well, that
That's
doesn't
what
sound
they
very
did the
appealing.
whole. Yeah, you should read that interview. That Vanity Fair is pretty funny.
My
No,
God.
sad but funny.
The B movie, though, now I have to reanalyze that. But we're at our time. Guys, Synchronous,
Right.
make sure you guys go to Synchronous and join the Facebook group because he's posting a lot to the Facebook group as well. There's some pretty great stuff here. And we're going to have to reanalyze all this. I'm going to see if I can watch the documentary on Michael J. Fox, if it's out this week or whenever it comes out. Do you know when it comes out? I'll get that done. But yeah, make sure you also go to the Synchronous Twitter.
The trailer
and you
looks good.
subscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're growing there, dude. You're like 4 times where you were at a minute ago. So legit.
And it's been fluctuating. I don't know. People, it keep dropping back to $3.99. I get it.
Well, yeah, because a lot of time people, I've had this happen where like I'm like, oh, did someone just subscribe to me? And then they'll hit me up later, be like, I just got my Twitter account erased for a week, and I'm like, oh, okay. So that happens a lot too.
Eddie, you are racist. I'm dropping out. Beep.
Yeah, how dare you, Eddie? Also, make sure you go to Paranoid American, which is the greatest comic book publisher in the world.
And at the top, there's a link there for the Chosen One issue 2. I'm holding issue 1 in my hands here. Issue 2, we're just waiting for 17. Come on, we got to get at least like 50 to 100
Where
followers.
are you at, people? I thought you
and
guys
then we'll
loved
launch
us.
that.
Guys, it doesn't cost any money. Go do the Paranoid American. Click on the button.
Look at the quality of this art. Come on, this is not just like some,
That's some next level.
That's
Chosen
next level
one.
stuff. Also, like, look at when Juan's on the show next time, we're gonna compare Juan's face to the illustration. You're gonna be impressed. Is all I can say. It's amazing. This really
This
great
fucking
art,
artist.
amazing stories. Just you got to get this
Look at
copy.
the Chosen one.
And all we're asking is that you click on the notification button. It's not like you have to sign up for money or anything like that. Just click on the notification button so that you're able to be alerted when it's published. You know, just go to the paranoidamerica.com, click on the Chosen One at the top of the page, and then click on notify me. So easy. It's so easy. It's so easy.
Oh, there.
Yeah, do it. All right. So yeah, everybody make sure you go back to this page. Check it out. Let me where's
One
the-
just at 100. We'll launch the Kickstarter at 100. So we
Yeah.
got to get there.
Come on, people. Get involved. All right, Paranoid American, and also check out the Epstein diffusion model.
That's right.
Because, the only thing that bothers me is he looks a little too much like Scott Bakula, no?
I've
That's
already
one-
fixed that. That's, dude. You saying that is what made me think. That he does look a little too much like Scott Bakula. I don't want to do.
I don't know if
my
it's
boy
too
Scotty
much.
that way.
Yeah, it's all it is. I don't want to do my boy Scotty that way. I mean, Scott Bakula is a good check
So
man.
I fixed it, and I went to upload it, and that's when I found out that my model had been censored, but the Hitler model had not been censored.
And they're like looking for.
And while you're here, check out the Alex Jones that I turned into a gay frog too.
I've
That
been
was-
Oh,
trying to
that's so
save it.
good,
Oh, you,
Yeah.
oh,
my
you did that
God.
one, right?
dude.
God.
Oh my god.
We need to.
It makes
That's
so much
totally
sense
confirmed.
too. It's just too
Not-
believable.
not- This is the ultimate kick.
This is my weekend. Oh my god, it's beautiful.
He's got a keck
Kick.
kink.
Taking requests. If anyone wants a special request, drop it.
Make sure you go to Paranoid American. And guys, go to the syncbook.com so you can click on videos right here at the top where it'll take you to either the Hindsight is 2020 documentary, which I still think you all need to see, or Syncflix, which is David Plate's research into synchromysticism and synchronology. How would you want to go? Synchronography, because he's putting together
synchromysticism.
But this is the graphing, because you're putting together things and making a thing. So you take the music and you take the movies and you put them together and you make an entire new thing, which completely dispels the magic trance that sound effects on movies often have that keep you from seeing the movie. And you can see an entire new level to what the movie's really about, which is great. And the Rainbow Thief is the most recent one that you posted, I think.
Yeah, I would. So last night we were projecting anti-Jesus Christ Superstar. So it's like Antichrist Superstar with Jesus Christ Superstar, which is something I did like when it came, shortly after it came out. So like I've been at this for a while, but we projected and it felt really appropriate because of like Easter time, to just like it's I think 3/4 of the way down in this. These are there's like 200 videos here. If you click on any of them, you can stream and download for free.
Star Child Antichrist. It's a whole different one.
That's another.
Yeah, I highly recommend the Office Space Matrix mix up. That's probably one of my favorites on here.
Yeah, you wouldn't know it from just thinking about it, but
that's
it
more
goes
of a film collage than it is like an actual like Dark Side of the Rainbow kind of sync film as such. It's just an exploration of the type. So there's anti-Jesus Christ Superstar. Yeah. So it's a whole crazy thing, but yeah, I recommend it.
It actually perfect.
A lot of people are doing the Marilyn Manson as a black person. It's all over the AI generator sites on Facebook. It's like everybody's doing that. They're turning Marilyn Manson black. I don't know. It's just weird. It's a trend right now.
You'll have to find that and send that to me. I want to see that. That seems great. All I can find is racist remarks, accusements of sexual harassment, and poor Brian Warner, right? But yes, a last thing I want to say: Freemasons will now officially accept transgender people as members. A Freemason who after initiation ceases to be a man does not cease to be a Freemason. So get in early before you do the surgery.
Right. Before they just had to pass,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the lesson there.
The Buck Angels out there.
Now you don't have to pass anymore. You just have to get in while you're a man, and then you can switch it as far as the Masons are concerned. Interesting. I like it. Pretty good. Well, and you know what? Let's not forget Crypto Alchemist.
Yeah, Crypto Alchemist, please come over. I'm at 7,990. Like help me get to 8K, people.
Dude,
get
honestly,
serious.
While I've been exhausted and wandering around, Bernie's been really pushing hard and making some great videos. And you can see his view counts are up, and he's doing really like consistent stuff. So, guys, you're gonna want to check out the content that's been existing for the last few weeks. I mean, every day, look at amazing new stuff. And then, I think Thursday we're going to do an APMK Canada kind of thing. Advanced Philosophy Memes meets MK Canada. So make sure you subscribe to Crypto Alchemist, and you want to also go to the BurnEye.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, everybody. I love you very much. Thank you for being here. And also, one-on-one podcast. We love you. Thank you for being here. I hope to see you very soon.
Happy birthday soon, Juan. And keep Eddie employed. Don't let AI get out of control.
Dude, no, we won't let you go, Eddie.
Don't worry. I'll find something.
No, dude, you'll be running the revolutions in Paraguay. I know the future.
Hello.
Say it again?
No, I said I survived drawing caricatures when I lived in Mexico. So,
oh my God.
I did. Yeah, that's that story. I tell you.
From whence you came, right?
Brutal. Peace out.
Hello. Welcome to the Exatos.
think tank.